Good morning. We're going to be teaching today about ArcGIS Online and Story Map Tour, how to build a story map tour. So to begin with, we want to open a Google Chrome browser, and the reason we're using Google Chrome is that the ArcGIS Online products were developed using Google Chrome, so that is the recommended browser for these products. So once you open Google Chrome browser, type in ArcGIS, or arcgis.com will do as well. It's a little easier. And you come to this screen, and we're going to go to sign in, and we sent you all credentials to log in, and so here would be your username and your password on the second line, and sign in. So this will bring you to an organizational account homepage, and right up here is the URL for the organization. In this case, the organization's name is Mighty Maps Institute. We will create an organization for your school and customize it to your school with your logo and colors, etc. And it will have a unique URL for your school. Right up here you can see that you are now signed in. So we're going to take a few minutes and walk through the organization so you can familiarize yourself with this environment. Then we're going to build Story Map Tour, and in the course of doing that we're going to return to this environment to, in essence, turn your story map in to your classroom so that your teacher can grade it. That will be the workflow process. So the first step we're going to go to is this tab up here for organization. So we'll click on organization, and in organization you want to primarily click on members, and it shows all of the members that are listed in your organization. This is the naming convention that we use for students, and it's primarily to avoid using students' first names and last names. We keep our user member names anonymous, and so that we don't have any private identification information of students. So the next tab we go to is content, and content in essence is your workspace. So this is where all the products that you create will show up. So if you're ever lost in your organization, you can always click on content, and this is my content. So I'm logged in, so when I click on content, this is my content. And over here are folders, and folders are very helpful. You can create a new folder and name it for organizing your content. So whenever I come up with a good product, I more than likely will save it and create a folder for it and put it over here in my content. Next is groups. We want to look at the groups tab, and you can scroll down and see all of the groups in the organization. You probably only have one group, and the name of that group for this demonstration is called Westdale, and you can click on that and see that there are a certain number of members in the Westdale group. In other words, a group in your organization would be like a class, so it might say Mr. Watson's Math 7A or Miss Smith's English 6B. Whatever the class name is would be the group name. And then the content in that group, right now we don't have any content, but in a few minutes after you make your story map, there will be content in here, so we'll be able to come back and look at that. The last environment that we want to show you in the org account is the map environment. This is the most robust environment in the org account, and where a lot of there's so much content here it's would take you actually years to get proficient at this and to really be well versed at understanding all the capabilities here. The 5x5 exercise that we gave you all is a great first step to slowly and very methodically walk through those activities, because it literally shows you what all of these tools are for and walks you through them one at a time. I'm going to touch on a few very briefly here. For example, this is how you add layers. And just as an example, in Living Atlas, there are 4,749 layers that you can add to your map. These are data layers that have been created and shared publicly for our use. For base maps, there are 11 base maps that you can choose from. So National Geographic base maps, imagery with labels. And so this gets down to a resolution that is high resolution imagery all over the world, that of anywhere in the world that you desire to go to. And then last is analysis, and these areas are all geoanalysis, which is one point of me showing you this is GIS software and tools that are being used by GIS professionals all over the world every day. So we break it down. We start with third graders using this same exact software. So we have lesson plans from 3rd through 12th graders in this environment. So we're going to take a break and let you all walk through. I'm going to go back to home here and just let you all walk around this environment and look at it for a few minutes. Organization, content, and groups. Okay, and then the home page of the organization account looks like this, with the banner for the title of the organization. Then we have a carousel of features and content here, and then we have a mission statement about the organization. So what we do for every school that we're involved in is we help set up their organization. So we'll load members in the organization, set up their groups, which resemble their classrooms, and then build out their organization. And what we build them out with are these geo-inquiries. So geo-inquiries are ready-made lesson plans in all of these content areas, and we're going to drill down and have an exercise about those later on this morning. But right now we just want to show you all that they are all loaded in your org account that you can get to, and there are 200 of them that you can access and use, and we'll drill down to those in a few minutes. So the next area we want to show you is this waffle up here. We call this the waffle, or 9 dots, and I'm going to open that for a minute, and we want to look at just a few areas. So today we're going to work with story maps. We're going to click on this in just a minute. Later on this afternoon we're going to touch on Survey 123 and just show you all a window into that. And Living Atlas, we showed you in the map environment. Over here in the map environment, when we clicked on Living Atlas, and it showed you the 4,700 layers that you have available to you to add to your maps. So there is just a plethora of choices here for you to grow and work with. For right now, we're going to click on Story Maps and work here. So I'll give you a few minutes to just look at the home page and all of the applications in the waffle. Okay, when we get to this page for Story Maps, this is actually an update from last year, and some people like it. We still choose to scroll down here to the original version of My Stories, and we're going to demonstrate to you exactly why we go here. So if you could scroll down to this gray area with this purple light bulb and click right here on original version of My Stories, it's going to take us to this page. And there's two tabs here that are very important. We're going to look at both of those, and that is Gallery and Apps. Gallery and Apps. We're going to click on Gallery first, and in Gallery we are going to look at the gallery of story maps that have been created. These are story maps that have been created by somebody throughout the world and shared publicly for all of us to enjoy. And sometimes they take a while to open up, as they are here. And okay, there they are. So these are story maps that have been created on just a multitude of topics, and they're shared publicly, and they have been created by people from all over the world. And this is just a great way to learn all about story maps. So take your time and visit this area. This is a great place to start with your students, just letting them explore, sending them here to learn about topics, learn about the different templates and how the templates are used, or to just look at story maps and try to figure out which template they did use for this story map. So it's a fascinating place just for exploration. So we're going to scroll back up, and I want to show you a few things about the table of contents in the gallery part. Right here we have all the list of templates that you have to choose from. Today we're going to make the story map tour template. We're going to use that template. Here we have all of the story maps broken down by subject matter. So you can click on People and Society, and it will cull out all the story maps about people and society and just serve up those for you to look at. So then, or you can go down to Industry and click on Libraries and Museums, and it will sort out all the story maps that have been created on that topic. So it's just helpful to kind of sort the story maps by topics. One thing I do want to point out is if you do that, they tend to get stuck in those categories. So you need to remember to always go back up to all to get out of these subcategories. So I'm going to give you all just a few minutes to look at that area of gallery. Okay, the next tab is Apps. On this tab, they have all of the applications for story maps that Esri offers. So we have here Story Map Tour, Story Map Journal, and they have a graphic for each template as well. Story Map Cascade, Series, Short List, Story Map Swipe and Spyglass, and Basic. And what we really like for each template, they have these areas that they offer of build, how to build the template, a walkthrough step-by-step guide, an overview, a gallery, an example of the story maps created using that template, a tutorial about that template, a frequently asked questions, and a blog. Now, we've written up a lesson plan, a step-by-step guide for you all that we emailed to you, so if you weren't watching this video, you could literally follow that step-by-step and build a story map. You could follow this tutorial, or you could walk through this build. So there's several different ways to accomplish the same objective, and that is to build your own story map. Today we're going to click on this blue button and build. But first, before we do that, I want to go to Gallery, and we're going to type in Lincoln, and we're going to pull up a sample of a story map tour that has already been created just to show you all what that looks like. So this is a story map tour on Abraham Lincoln, the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. And this is what yours will look like when it's built out, but just on a different subject. So we have a title and a subtitle. And over here you have a logo for Esri. And over here you have a little, what looks like a paper clip. And if you click on that, there's a unique URL. And that unique URL is the URL just for this story map. So when you create your story map, it'll generate a URL that you can grab this URL and email to someone or put on a website, or you have many options of what you can do with that URL. And then there are three components of every story map. You have geography, media, and information. Geography, media, and information. And then there are several ways you can navigate through this story map. You can click on the data points in the geography, and it'll move you around throughout the different data points. Or you can click on the arrow over here and just walk through each data point one at a time. Or you can go in the carousel of all of your images down here and click on one, and it'll move you to that data point in the map and pull it up in the inset here. So we'll give you a few minutes just to look around at this story map and get familiar with the layout. Okay, I'm going to close that tab. We don't need that anymore. And we're going to scroll back up here and go to Apps, so we can get back up to our story map tour build. So scroll back up to the Apps tab and down to the story map tour. Now this is a very important step. Make sure you're on the story map tour template. It's the first one after the Apps tab, and we're going to click Build. So everybody should be right here. And there are two ways that you can obtain your images or videos. You can obtain them from an online source or upload your images from your computer. So because we work with schools, we try not to go to an outside online source as much as possible. So that's why we had you all download the images and put them on your desktop. So we're going to click on this box here, and for layer name we suggest first initial last name, and for folder leave the root the same, And I have to put a number behind mine because I have more than one with my first initial last name. So layer name, first initial last name, folder is root, and create layer. So I'm going to wait just a minute for everyone to do that. So we click the blue button, build, then we click the green button on the side to obtain our media and images from our desktop, and then we named our layer first initial last name, left the name of the folder root, and created a layer. So everyone should be at this point now, and what we're going to do, the workflow from here is we're going to start to build the story map, and then once we have one data point in the story map, we're going to name it and save it and get it into our group or our classroom into the right place so that our teacher will have our product where she or he can go to one place and grade everyone's work from inside the group or the classroom, and then we can go back to our story map and edit it and add the rest of the pictures. So this is where we start to add one picture. And notice you have 3 tabs: media, information, and location. So that's what we talked about in the Abraham Lincoln story map, that you must have 3 components to every story map: the geography, the media, and information. So go ahead and click on the green button, and you're going to grab your first picture, go to your desktop and open the folder and grab your first picture, which mine is Angel Falls, Venezuela. And somebody put in the chat, I want everyone to notice what happens to the tab. How does the tab for media change when I click on information? So there's going to be a change in the tab here when I click on information. If you all could write that in the chat, we would appreciate it. So I've loaded my picture here. I'm going to click on information and someone tell me how the tab changed. Okay, very good. So we have a check there. What that means is the image that we submitted here satisfied the criteria for the tour template. And that means the picture was the right size. So that is why for this lesson we procured the images that were the right size and supplied them to you, because we did not want you all to get an error with this lesson. So we gave you pictures that we knew would work. If you imported a picture that was the wrong size, you would get an exclamation mark here and an error. So we go to information, it pulls in the name of Venezuela, Angel Falls, Venezuela. I'm going to copy that and I'm going to go to location. So I'm going to give y'all a few minutes to get that done, and we're going to all work on location together. Okay, so we're all on the location tab, and usually I like to ask in a classroom is there are 3 ways to locate your data point here on this display screen. So what is the most accurate way that you could locate your data point? And usually there's at least one student in the class that'll raise their hand and say lat long coordinate, and that's in fact the right answer. So if you knew the lat long coordinate of Angel Falls, Venezuela, you could enter that here and your data point would move there, and that would be the most accurate. The second way is to type it in here, and let me backtrack here. And so when I start to type Angel Falls, you will notice that it starts to populate the name. And when I need to click the search button here for it to actually move that data point to Angel Falls, Venezuela. Okay? And so you really have to make sure that that data point moves. Sometimes I've seen it get stuck before, and you'll have students end up with adding 10 pictures and the data points in the same place for all 10 pictures because it never moved. So go ahead and click that search button and make sure that data point moves. So once that happens, you can go ahead and click Add to a Point. So all 3 tabs are satisfied, and we've added 1 data point. And then I like to ask the question of what's one of the most important things to do when you're working on the computer and getting a lot of work done, and you don't want to lose your work. And usually someone will raise their hand and answer that it's the save button, and I say yes. And so up here we see a blue button over here for save, and so I say let's go ahead and click save, and we get this message that says, oh, a title can't be empty. So we say, okay, here's the title, let's edit that. And there again, let's say first initial last name, story map, most beautiful places, and hit enter, and now we can save. And go ahead and hit close. And remember that URL I told you about? Well, that's sitting right over here. So that's your unique URL that's just been generated. You can also click autoplay to autoplay your story map when you're finished. So we have a story map here. You can tell that it's starting to look like a story map, and we're going to, that really completes the whole process of creating a story map. You just have 1 data point in it, you've saved it, and you've named it. Let's turn that into our classroom for our teacher to grade. We have all the components that are necessary, except we don't have all of our data points in there. So this is a big transition step that we want to take, and it's very important. So watch carefully, and we will allow you all time to take the step as well. We're going to go to this tab that's still open over here, Mighty Maps Institute. The tab for you would be the name of your organization once that's been created, but go ahead and click on that. And can anyone guess where their map might be of all these tabs? It's going to be in Content, My Content. So when you click on Content, sure enough, you see F. Harvey Story Map, Most Beautiful Places right there. But oh, there are 3 products, not just 1. Why are there 3? Well, 1 is the feature layer. So this is the table of the data points that you're entering. By default, the map is created with the data points on the map, and then the web mapping application is the story map itself. So you actually have 3 products: web map application, the web map, and the feature layer. So we have a story map rubric that we will supply you all, where it can be serve as a checklist. There's about 10 points on it, which is what you will want to use as a grading matrix for your students, just to make sure they have the 10 components in there that they need to have for a complete story map, which is title, 9 picture photos in the right places, these 3 files, that they're all in the group, that their spelling is correct, etc. So the next thing we need to do is get them into our classroom. So notice up here you have no options right here. But when I check my 3 files, all of a sudden we get options here. So I want to check my 3 files and click Share. And I am the owner of these products. So I want to click Edit. And then I'm going to type in my group. You all probably only see one group. So go ahead and click on that. And say OK and save. So everybody take a minute and do those steps. So we got over here to content. You found your 3 items. You should have all 3 items here. You checked on them. You shared them into your group. So let's go check that. Let's go to groups. And open the group. And click on content. No content. Okay. Let's see. Share. Edit. Okay, group. Content. I think I did not check the group. So you have 3 products here. You should have your 3 products. I see my 3 products. There are several ways you can view this. Up here this is the list view. You can look at them as a grid or a table. So there's advantages to seeing them in the different ways. When you see them as lists, you get to see the different types: the web mapping application, the web map, and the feature layer. So the web map application is the only way to get back to the editing mode. So if you want to click on the hyperlink of the web map application and then click View Application, it will bring you back to this screen where you then have a blue Edit button. So see how our story map is starting to look like a story map? And you can click Edit, and then you're back to the editing environment to add more data points. And to add more data points, click on the big plus button, and you're back to your 3 tabs, and click Add, Information, location, search, change my symbol color, and add to a point. Add another one, Indonesia, add to a point, and save. So your turn. Okay, let's see how everybody's story map is looking. So I've added 3 data points. I've saved my map. So let's look around here at some of these symbols on the side. If I want to see what my map looks like, I can click on the little eye, and that shows me what my story map's going to look like. And I have 3 data points. And I click the edit button. And if I made a mistake, which I think I see one, and I put a picture in the wrong place, which I'll show you all, Indonesia, the data point did not move. So here we have Italy, and Indonesia data point did not move for some reason. So I'm going to click on that, click on Indonesia, delete, apply. It's going to ask me again, do I want to permanently remove it? And I'm just going to add Indonesia back. And this time I'm going to very carefully make sure when I hit search that it goes over to Indonesia. There you go. Add to a point. Okay. Then I'm going to hit save. Then I'm going to view it again. And toggle through. And I have 3 data points. Okay, so we'll let y'all look at those features for a minute. The eye and the organize. And then we'll show you one last feature. Okay, so the last feature is the settings button, and this is always the one we're looking for, and that is to keep the geography of the subject matter as a central focal point. So we're going to click to this selected layout, and we're going to click apply, and that gives us our map over here. So we're going to go back to settings, and then I need to fix the extent on my map because it's not viewing properly. So we have some other options up here. We can change the colors. We can change the header, so we could change the logo here from Esri to our school logo, for example. We can change some things about the photo caption and the color fields, and we can change the extent. Okay, so set the extent. Oh, set the extent. And then save. And let's go back. Okay, share and then preview. And there we have our 3 data points in the world map. So the good news about this is you've created your story map. All your data points are in here. It's in the group. It's in the class. All 3 files are there. All you have to do is go back to edit and add the rest of your data points, and then go back and start adding information about each site to whatever criteria you as the teacher want the student to have for each data point. But basically you're done and successful in creating your first story map. So thank you very much and good job, everybody.
Yeah.
I wonder if it has something to do with that, because remember, let's try it. Remember last time we did the Zoom, do Zoom level 4 on a point, I guess.
Well, it goes on each one of them automatically. So what do you want to do?
Yeah, go to go
To view?
Falls.
You have it like...
Oh, no, close some of this. But, oh, you want to stop the recording?
Well, I'm just going to share, preview. I can cut it all off. Okay.
Oh.
So the
I
first
see,
one's
I see.
always
I
going to
see.
be like that.
I see. You're saying when you set it like that. Okay, it didn't have anything to do with